I just ruined it, so Bill, maybe you can fix it. So Glenn Watt is our next poet. He's been writing poetry since the late 1970s. He's originally from Wyoming, which I'm from Wyoming too, so we have something in common. His evocative poems bring to life the adventurous spirit of, among other things, several decades of walking and birding the Chariton, Des Moines, and Iowa River ecosystems of southeastern Iowa, which he gathered in his chapbook, which is for sale back there. And it's called Walking the Refuge. He is grateful to his wife for her extensive perennial garden, to the wildlands of Iowa, and to all those who strive to maintain these rich habitats. So Glenn, where is he? He's also practicing the invisibility sentence.
How's that?
A little higher.
There.
Pull it towards you.
First poem, I could probably even get to the back room anyway, but first poem dedicated to Suzanne, fellow Lemonite, Wyomingite. I'll be reading a few early poems, and I'll read some from the Refuge, and then I'll finish up with some new poems in the second round. So this old poem called On Hope. One spring, I spent several evenings among the mule deer on Warm Springs Mountain. They seemed so happy then, having just survived another hard death by starvation or by the bullet, to wander down and graze peacefully on the tender leaves of timothy and clover that grow there along the base of the mountain. As legend has it, an Indian could at one time walk right up and touch one of these sleek brown creatures as it browsed unsuspecting in the gathering dust before me. I tried that, working my way carefully down through the dry sage and loose rock of the hillside, stopping dead still when they looked up, sometimes caught balanced awkwardly on one leg for long moments while they leisurely tested the air. I don't think I ever really intended to touch one. I just wanted to see how close I could come. Their lives, like my hopes, were so quick and supple there, so vulnerable in that high, open country in the sun. Slow and clumsy, I came within 100 yards before they wandered on down to the river to drink. We drove to Bloomington, Indiana for the eclipse, and we passed through Peoria, and my wife's family used to live on the other side of Peoria, and it reminded me of this poem. It was conceived somewhere along that interstate. It's called Interstate Round. I am driving down the interstate. The music is turned up so loud inside, I can barely stand it. The hills are on fire. Every leaf of every tree is on fire. I unbutton my chest and let them pass through. They enter me like lovers, each one alive, penetrating and whole. We remain connected for a while after they pass. Then I snap forward like a long arm to embrace the next. I am dancing down the interstate. The music is turned up. I can barely stand it. My heart is on fire. Each leaf of every tree is dancing. Someone is driving. I am on fire. The music is whole. The lovers are dancing. Each leaf passes through me. My chest is unbuttoned. The hills are turned up. The music is dancing. The lovers are on fire. Each leaf is unbuttoned. The interstate is dancing. Each leaf is whole. The hills are unbuttoned. The music is on fire. The dancers are dancing. The lovers pass through. That's a grandmother poem, so this was to Bill and Bill's grandmother. There was no pineapple in it. Breakfast. Early as usual, out on the weathered bench under the pergola in the cool. Abbreviated staccato chip of a redbird popping over a thick hedge of lilac, redbud, and weeping crab to the north. No need, I guess, to tell the whole story this time of day. Snap and flutter of the aspen's green sails, dip and sway of its white whips in the breeze. No need to urge the world along. Slender-waisted serviceberry up on its toes in the low light, bulging apron pockets now empty from foraging robins, catbirds, cardinals, the occasional cardinal. Behind it, grapes dangle like ancient ropes in buckthorn shade. I'm here, he seems to be calling out, wide-eyed and wet with dew. I'm here, 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 among the pomp and splendor, tucked up under the shine. Hint of midday swelter already on my shoulders and back. As if my grandmother, long dead, yet still active in her pink kitchen, kneading bread and rolling out pies at dawn, kicked on the oven's flame at 6 a.m. and is beginning to clink with the heat. These are some bird poems. Exactly nothing. Skipping work, I haul my guilt through the fog and pre-dawn dark to the Mecca of prairie cordgrass along the russet banks of Buckshot Pond, and arrive just as the sun begins to break over my shoulders and onto the golden chest-high grasses, and gather about me my implements of worship, and wade out into this sea of glory to pay homage to one of these rare and perky migrants of this planet who tell me exactly nothing, which is exactly what I have come to hear. The title of this poem comes from a line by Peter Matheson from End of the World, The Myriad Petals. Then each pilfered glimpse of this short-eared owl prowling the unshorn, snow-flattened fields before us at dusk. Soft hinge of its body unfurled, wings like long leaves flared and fluttering, twin barrels for eyes, breastplate of finely hammered gold flashing against the bloody mauves and violets, molten oranges and icy turquoise blues against a backlit indigo screen of trees, each relentless, moth-like, appetite-driven dip and sweep a petal off that flower, dissolving even as it opens and falls. Miracles. Sometimes we get to meet one all by itself, stripped down and vital, and hardly a handspan tall, worrying the last vestige of spring wetness along the weedy edge of a still fallow farm field, doing whatever it can, like the rest of us, to fatten itself up for the unknown, the inevitable next leg of the journey. Sometimes we get to meet one up close, as if it's no big deal, just a couple of strangers going about their brief business on this planet, momentarily shoulder to shoulder in the weeds. And I'll end with the final poem in the book called Prayer. May we too pass through this brief and sudden beauty that is our lives as simply and joyfully. Oh. Didn't think about that, Bill. I'm going to start over. Prayer. May we too pass through this brief and sudden beauty that is our lives as simply and joyfully as the kinglet when it flings itself and its tiny beating heart, wide-eyed and without reservation, through the tangle of interlacing limbs and blossoms that at this moment is the fleeting portal of its own.